And good afternoon and welcome to Broncos Gym on the campus of Legacy High School here in Mansfield, Texas for the TAPPS, Texas Association of Private and Parochial Schools Class 5A State Championship basketball game in the girls division between the Argyle Liberty Christian Lady Warriors and the Plano John Paul II Lady Cardinals. And I'm Carlos Leal. I'll be bringing you the play-by-play along with my broadcast partner, RV Bogus of Texas Preps Basketball Magazine and TexasPrepsBasketball.com. And RV, it's a state championship game, but it has the district game feel because these two teams are very familiar with each other.
Yeah, District 1 5A has just been something to watch this year. As a matter of fact, Plano John Paul had to beat Prestonwood Christian out of that same district just to get here, Carlos.
We will talk about that, give you some of the background on both teams here in just a moment. Meanwhile, we are off and running, and the Plano John Paul II Lady Cardinals with the ball. Keaton Nelligan, Kendall Texada, Kelsey Sweeney, Arabella DeAngelis, and Claire Ricketts, the starting five for the Lady Cardinals. And the ball goes out of bounds. It will be Lady Cardinals basketball. And Kendall Texada will throw the ball in underneath the basket. She gets it out to Claire Ricketts. Ricketts misses her shot. Rebound falls to the Lady Cardinals. Nelligan over a three-pointer on the far elbow, missed by Texada. And the Lady Warriors come down with the rebound. Here's a long outlet pass to Hannah Hand. Her shot is no good. Rebound goes out of bounds, and it'll be John Paul basketball.
That was a nice look on that possession there for Argyle Liberty to Hannah Hand, one of four freshmen starting for Argyle Liberty.
Yeah, let's take a look at the starting lineup. Rebecca Hand, a 5'9" freshman guard. Sydney Goodson, the 5'7" freshman guard. Hannah Hand, the 5'9" freshman guard. Rayvon Christian, the lone senior. And there's a shot in the basket for the Lady Cardinals as they're up 2-0.
That's Kendall Texada on that one, and she is a dynamic player, a transfer from a couple of years ago from Frisco Wakeland High School.
There's a traveling violation against Sydney Goodson. Closing out the starting five for the Lady Warriors, Rayvon Christian, the 5'10" senior forward, and Kendall Ellig, the 5'10" freshman forward. So as you said, RV, four freshmen and a senior. That's quite remarkable.
Kind of been our theme of the day, hasn't it, Carlos, with a lot of young players on these teams. We're naming champions today, but also teams for the future.
The year of the underclassmen, for
absolutely,
sure.
Absolutely.
Kendall Texada's shot goes off and out of bounds. It will be Argyle Liberty Christian basketball.
And Liberty Christian never seems to run out of any of the Hand sisters. Of course, Whitney Hand played there a few years ago and went on to Oklahoma before suffering knee injuries that curtail her career.
And Hannah Hand actually scored 12 points in the semifinal against St. Agnes last night. She missed 2 months due to a broken foot, but is back in action and just in time for Liberty Christian. And there's a foul against John Paul II. That will be against Kendall Texada, excuse me. That'll be her first and the team's first as well. Hannah Hand throwing the ball to Sydney Goodson. Goodson between the circles. Man-to-man defense for John Paul II. There's an inside pass to Kendall Ellig. She's
nice
double-teamed. Backs it out, though, to Rebecca Hand. Her three-pointer from the top of the key is no good. Corralled by Kelsey Sweeney for the Lady Cardinals. Back the other way comes John Paul II.
This will be an interesting game. Of course, as we just pointed out, these two faced each other twice in district. John Paul winning both, one 52-47, the other 46-42, so a couple of tight games.
Well, John Paul has a history of sweeping teams. We'll get to that here in a little bit. There's an inside play, no good, as Claire Ricketts tried to put back a shot. And meanwhile, going the other way, the Liberty Christian Lady Warriors, the ball blocked out of bounds. It'll be Argyle's basketball.
Yeah, good play on defense there to block Sydney Goodson's shot.
Rayvon Christian, the lone senior on this starting five, will inbound the ball. She gets it to Hand.
Which one?
Hannah Hand.
Left hand or right hand?
Thank you for that reminder. Now Rebecca Hand with the ball. She drives, and hers is blocked. She went in against three taller players.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a defensive interior presence already that Plano John Paul is bringing out.
So Liberty Christian is going to be forced to chuck it from the outside, looks like, if they're going to get anywhere. Here's a pass to Rebecca Hand. Her outside shot is no good. Rebound corralled by Liberty Christian, but unfortunately, Sydney Goodson stepped on the baseline, and it'll be Lady Cardinal basketball. They have a 2-0 lead just getting underway here at Legacy High School. 5:04 left to go in the first quarter of this Class 5A TAPPS Girls State Championship game. Arabella DeAngelis with the ball, now gets it over to Keaton Nelligan. Her drive on the right side's no good, and she knocked the ball out of bounds in an attempt to corral the rebound. It'll be Liberty Christian basketball.
Yeah, good idea by Nelligan, but just not very good execution there. She had a much taller player defending and was not able to put up a high percentage shot, even though she was in close.
Liberty Christian, as we alluded to earlier, 68-52 winners over Houston St. Agnes in the semifinal round. And now we've got a foul, and this is against Rayvon Christian of Liberty Christian. And that's the first team foul and the first foul for Christian. Meanwhile, John Paul II defeated Prestonwood 42-35. It was business as usual for the Lady Cardinals as they win their third straight game over Plano Prestonwood. In fact, in the entire 7-year history that John Paul has been around, they are 11-0 against Plano Prestonwood. A three-pointer attempt by Sydney Goodson, no good for Liberty. Here comes the Lady Cardinals back down. There's a push in the back against Claire Ricketts as she tried to lay it up and in, so that will be the foul against Rebecca Hand. That's her first, and it will send Ricketts to the line.
Yeah, and a nice play by Kendall Texada on that play there, fueling the fast break and finding her teammate at the end trailing.
So Ricketts will shoot two. Her first one is around the rim, no good. She led the team with an inside-outside presence last night as she scored 17, and Kendall Texada had 14 points, mostly from the outside, in the Lady Cardinals' victory to get to this game. Second free throw is good. It's now 3-0. John Paul II over Liberty Christian.
And Kendall Texada also comes from strong genes in basketball. Her sister Haley was a good player at Frisco Wakeland a few years ago.
Thought I recognized that name.
Yeah.
There's a drive from Rebecca Hand in the paint, but she traveled as she kind of curled the ball around her arm and was unable to get it free to try and do anything with it.
Yeah, early turnovers are impacting Argyle Liberty Christian right now. 3 in the early going, and they're still trying to get their first point. We're more than halfway through this quarter.
3:49 left to go in the first. 3-0. It's the John Paul II lead over Liberty Christian. A little arm bar there by Keaton Nelligan trying to get some distance. Now here's DeAngelis at the top of the key, trying to look for someone to pass to.
Yeah, need a little better spacing. It's kind of congested right now on the right-hand side of the court.
Here's Texada, free throw line over to Ricketts. Ricketts' free throw line jumper is no good. Liberty Christian comes down with the rebound. Rebecca Hand with the ball on the near elbow. Gets it out to Goodson. Goodson between the circles. And we've got a foul away from the ball.
And that is going the other way again.
That'll be against Hannah Hand. That's her first. So the freshman gets her first foul. 3 team fouls now for Liberty Christian as opposed to just the lone foul against Kendall Texada for the Lady Cardinals.
Tough start for Ken Burrows' team. They're just not able to really manufacture anything. You don't really see anything flowing on offense. Maybe the defense will create the offense. It happens a lot. There you go.
Nelligan pass is blocked. This is Rayvon Christian giving it off to Sydney Goodson. Goodson misses. And rebound corralled by Rebecca Hand, I should say. She comes back, but a foul is called. And so she'll try to earn it from the line as they get Claire Ricketts for her first foul of the game.
Argyle Liberty's doing a good job, Carlos, on the glass right now, both offense and defense. They've got 6 rebounds in the early going to John Paul's 4, but again, just trouble unlocking the key on that basket.
Rebecca Hand's first free throw is good.
No, that fell off the iron.
I'm sorry, it's no good. I was distracted by the band. John Paul II brought the actual band. Yeah. One of the other teams earlier brought the drum line, but they did not have a whole lot to drum about, and they were fairly silent during the whole game.
Yeah.
So the first free throw the second free throw by Hand is good. That makes the score 3-1 with 2:35 to go. John Paul II leading Liberty Christian, and there's a three-pointer from the far elbow by Kendall Texada. She gets hot, and it's now 6-1 John Paul II.
Supremely talented player, and she was that at Frisco Wakeland and continues to be.
And here's a steal. Texada with the ball, gets it ahead to Ricketts. Ricketts layup is no good, and she traveled.
Tough break there for Claire Ricketts because that was a nice shot that she manufactured, more or less created on her own underneath the basket, but a step before that.
I got to apologize to the Ricketts family. It was actually Arabella DeAngelis on that turnover, so sorry about that, Claire.
And I apologize because I was following up on your thought.
We are up here in the skybox area. It's a little high, but that's not an excuse. We just 23 and 30, sometimes hard to tell. And here's a steal. This is by DeAngelis, and she will get the ball to Texada. Minute 55 left to go in the first period. Plano, John Paul II leading Argyle Liberty Christian by a score of 6-1. And ball now in the hands of Ricketts, top of the key. Gets it to the near elbow to Texada. John Paul in no big hurry. Just trying to examine Liberty Christian's weakness. Here's a pass that was intended for Claire Ricketts, but it was away from her. She managed to knock the ball away from the defender, but it went out of bounds.
Yeah, at first I thought Kendall Texada was attempting an NBA distance three until I saw where the ball was actually trajecting. And not the best pass. A skip pass through heavy traffic usually is not going to work.
Here's Goodson with a 20-footer that's no good from the near side. Now Kendall Ellig with the ball. Nice back cut feed to Rayvon Christian for the points, and it's now 6-3. John Paul II over Liberty Christian with a, there we go, with a minute left to go in the first period.
It's an understatement to say that shot was overdue.
Here's a three-pointer from Texada, no good, and the rebound just out of the reach of DeAngelis for John Paul II. It'll be Liberty Christian basketball with 51.4 to go.
Kendall Texada really trying to make things happen early. Hit 1 3, took another one there. The pass from three-point land that didn't quite work.
Here's a pass down low.
Good anticipation there by Kendall.
And Kendall's going to drive. She's got 3-on-3 and drives right through, and a block is called, much to the chagrin of Liberty Christian, as Kendall Ellig will get whistled for the blocking foul, and the freshman draws her first.
Again, another one of those bang-bang plays. We've seen a few of those today that could have been called either way.
Texada inbounds the ball under the basket. Pass goes out of bounds, and it'll be Liberty Christian basketball. Nice defense there by Hannah Hand.
And it's an example, Carlos. It does look like they're doing their very best to use their defense to help them try and create some type of offense. There's no consistency or flow at this point, but then again, it's only a 3-point deficit, and it's early.
6-3 with 22 seconds left to go in the first period. Liberty Christian looking to cut into this John Paul II lead. And a shot from Hannah Hand just inside the free throw line, about 13 feet. And that cuts the lead to 1 for John Paul. They have the basketball going for the last shot here. Kendall Texada between the circles. She's going to try a massive three-pointer that draws nothing but air. And that's the buzzer for the end of the first quarter. We've played 8 minutes in this Class 5A state championship game for TAPPS. The Plano John Paul II Lady Cardinals lead the Argyle Liberty Christian Lady Warriors by a score of 6-5. And RV, not a whole lot, as you said, not a whole lot of pattern or flow to the game. They're just both teams just trying to get used to each other, I guess, which is kind of hard to imagine since they played each other.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of secrets you would think between the two teams anymore.
No, that's really true. This is kind of the first quarter you would typically see of two teams, as they would say in boxing, guys feeling each other out kind of in the early going, and it's as if these teams are trying to do that. But like you said, this is the third time they've hooked up this year, twice in district and now here in the ultimate game. And you could attribute maybe some jitters, but then again, Plano John Paul is a veteran team reaching this stage of the state tournament. So I don't know, just some missed shots right now and plays that are not being made. If you're Argyle Liberty, you definitely want to cut down on the turnovers. They suffered 5 of those in the first quarter to only 1 for Plano John Paul. So that's a facet of their game that Ken Burrows talked about during this timeout here between periods.
Liberty Christian is in their 7th title game in 8 years. They were the champions in 2011, defeating John Paul II. And in 2009-2010 was runner-up to Houston Westbury Christian both years 2008, they defeated Tomball Concordia, and 2007, they defeated Lubbock Trinity Christian. There's a three-pointer in and out attempted by Sydney Goodson. We will track both teams' journey through the playoffs this year here shortly.
Nothing wrong with that shot by Goodson except for the result.
Yep.
Almost went down, but very good look at it and a good shot. Keep those going, and a few will fall in.
So Plano John Paul II trying to expand on their 1-point lead here in the second period. Kendall Texada.
For me?
The pass from Keaton Nelligan, and Texada was sure that was intended for somebody else.
Yeah, unfortunately no one was behind her.
Nope. And she just kind of turned and looked, and then looked back at Nelligan going, really, you wanted me to catch that one? That was interesting. So Liberty Christian with the ball and a chance to take the lead. Here is Rayvon Christian being guarded heavily, and inside to Hand, I believe, and a block there against John Paul II. That is Rebecca Hand. Kelsey Sweeney with her first foul for the Lady Cardinals, and that's the third team foul compared to 4 for Liberty Christian. Back come the Lady Warriors. Rebecca Hand having some problems with the basketball. Now Sydney Goodson having problems as Kendall Texada just wreaking havoc among everyone. Here's a pass knocked away, finally controlled by Liberty Christian. And a shot from Hannah Hand goes up and in. So Hannah Hand gives Liberty Christian their first lead of the ball game.
Yeah, Liberty Christian has persevered after getting up to just a wretched start. They were scoreless for most of that first quarter and really picking it up.
Here's an attempted knockaway by Sydney Goodson for not. A three-pointer no good for John Paul. Now Liberty Christian coming back the other way. Fast break. Hannah Hand puts up a shot, no good. Rebound corralled by the Lady Cardinals of John Paul II. Kendall Texada with a turnaround jumper, no good. Rebound controlled by the Lady Warriors and a foul against John Paul II. And this will be against Kelsey Sweeney. That's her second.
This one has the feel of another of their previous two games. I don't know what the final ended up, but one was by 5 points and one by 4. And this just has the feel of a game that don't see any great separation coming.
Yep. Kind of like the last game that we did between Houston Westbury and Dallas Christian.
That's right.
For the boys 4A title, won by Westbury Christian. But it was tight until the last couple of minutes when Westbury Christian finally pulled away. Meanwhile, here's a shot and a foul as Rayvon Christian gets fouled as she tried to go into the paint.
That's right. We've crowned 4A champions today. Carlos, Houston Westbury Christian and the boys 4A, and Lubbock Trinity Christian and the girls 4A.
Free throw by Rayvon Christian is good. And that gives Argyle Liberty Christian a 2-point lead. Can she make it 3? No. Rebound from the Lady Cardinals, Kelsey Sweeney. It's 8-6. Argyle Liberty Christian over Plano John Paul II. 5:32 left to go before halftime. Passing the ball around, the Lady Cardinals doing a great job around the perimeter.
Packing in a 2-3 defense, zone defense right now, forcing shots from the outside.
Nelligan to Ricketts, now to Texada.
Nothing's coming easy right now for John Paul.
DeAngelis over to Texada in the near corner. Her shot no good from three-point land. And rebound corralled by John Paul II, but there's a foul.
Good rebound, good effort on that offensive rebound there on the long side of the glass on the weak side.
Kendall Ellig draws her second foul. Both teams with 5 team fouls. Here's a three-pointer off the inbound pass. It's no good for John Paul II. Back comes Liberty Christian. Outlet pass stolen by Kendall Texada, and a falling Liberty Christian player, that is Sydney Goodson, will draw her first foul as she fell across the feet of Kendall Texada.
And where Argyle Liberty had trouble scoring at the outset, Plano John Paul has endured their own drought this quarter. We played more than 3 minutes and they've yet to score.
And a timeout called with 4:52 left to go before halftime in this Class 5A Girls TAPPS State Championship game. Argyle Liberty Christian leading Plano John Paul II by a score of 8-6. Let's take a look at the path that both teams took to get to this point. The John Paul II Lady Cardinals defeated San Antonio St. Anthony 69-33. And then they topped Addison Trinity Christian in the quarterfinals. There wasn't a score written down for that one, but nonetheless, Plano John Paul coming out on top. And then they defeated Plano Prestonwood 42-35, their fellow District 1 5A opponent. Meanwhile, Liberty Christian of Argyle defeated Houston St. Pius X 47-27 in the first round. They defeated San Antonio Antonian 53-43, and I'm old enough to remember when Antonian was actually an all-boys school. Nonetheless, the Lady Warriors advanced to the semifinals against Houston St. Agnes last night, where they defeated Houston St. Agnes 68-52.
Yeah, and I'm old enough to remember when only 3 girls were on one side of the court.
Yes, I do remember that as well. I was in middle school, and I thought, wait a minute, something's wrong here. There's 6 players on the team. Coach, you got to call a
Yeah, you get to kind of lounge, while action's going on the other end.
Oh, goodness. Those were the days.
How the game has evolved,
and
thankfully for so much the better.
Yes. Absolutely. Took the words right out of my mouth. Here's a shot, and in and out attempt by, I believe that was Keaton Nelligan, but a foul on the rebound. And that is Kelsey Sweeney's 3rd foul. And as soon as Coach Mike Martin hears that, well, he's still standing there. I thought maybe he would have somebody come in for Sweeney, but as yet has not made a motion to the bench. Meanwhile, Liberty Christian with the ball. Here's Rebecca Hand swinging it around to Ellig. Ellig on the near elbow. Inside to Rayvon Christian. Now over to Sydney Goodson. Her three-pointer from the top of the key is no good. And a tie-up on the rebound. And the alternating possession on the jump ball will go to Liberty Christian. And Kendall Ellig, not realizing that, was going all the way over until somebody said, hey, where are you going?
Well, she thought it was 3-on-3 again, the old school game. She went back to play her end of the court.
And actually they are giving the ball.
Let's give her some credit.
After they
She was the 1 of the 10 on the court. Who knew?
They knew what was going on, and certainly the officials initially giving the ball to Liberty Christian, but now changing their mind, so it'll be John Paul II with Kendall Texada all the way cross court to Nelligan. Swings it to DeAngelis, now back to Texada.
I would like to see Kendall Texada drive a little more. She's thrown up, I think, way too many three-pointers, certainly capable of driving.
Here's DeAngelis from three-point line on the far side, no good. And a whistle and a foul. This will be against Rebecca Hand. That's her 2nd. And should be the 5th team foul for Liberty Christian, and that'll send Nelligan to the line.
And that's a big foul on Rebecca Hand, not just because it's her 2nd, but one stat I've yet to give is she has 7 rebounds already in the early going.
First free throw is good from Keaton Nelligan. That was the 7th team foul, so a 1-on-1 situation currently. And second free throw also good from Nelligan. So with 3:39 to go in the second period of this TAPPS Class 5A state championship game, we're all tied up between Plano John Paul and Argyle Liberty Christian at 8. Inside, pass going to Rayvon Christian. Christian driving the paint, puts it up and in.
Kind of took a circuitous route around there, but, she found her end destination and had the basket.
And with that, the Lady Warriors are now in the lead, 10-8 with 3:11 to go here in the second period. This game gone by really fast.
Really has. Very few foul calls, very few free throws. Really not that many turnovers either. It's settled down for Argyle.
And only one timeout as the pass goes out of bounds. And Arabella DeAngelis trying to argue for naught that the pass bounced off a Liberty Christian Lady Warrior, but the referees having none of that. Interesting setup here at Legacy. There are seats on 3 sides, I should say, not all 3 sides. If you're familiar with Strahan Coliseum at Texas State University, much the same fashion for that. But a beautiful facility nonetheless, and a great place to have a day like this with 4 state championship games. Now we've got a foul, and that will be on Kendall Texada, I believe. And so that is the second foul, I should say, for Texada. And it'll send Rayvon Christian to the line to shoot 2 free throws.
You do have some key players in a little bit of foul trouble right now.
The front end of the 1-on-1 no good. John Paul with the rebound. And Kendall Texada with the ball. Not able to come down with it after a couple of shots from John Paul. Liberty Christian now comes down with the ball. Here's Rayvon Christian with a turnaround J in the paint, no good. Partially blocked, I believe, by Claire Ricketts. And so the Lady Cardinals trying to tie the game up or possibly go ahead by one. DeAngelis in the near corner. Now out to Texada, top of the key. Working the ball around. Sweeney on the left elbow in the corner. Three-pointer by Nelligan, no good. Liberty Christian with the ball. Here's a pass up ahead to Hannah Hand. She puts it up and in. So Liberty Christian now ahead by 4, 12-8 with 1:50 to go before halftime.
And the way this one is going, 4 is almost like 14.
Yeah, you don't want to let one team get too far ahead in this one, much like the other game. Now here's a pass knocked away, controlled by Liberty Christian, ahead to Kendall Ellig, and that is good. And Mike Martin has seen enough for the moment. He's going to call a timeout. 1 minute, 29 seconds left to go in the second period, and he is rather demonstrative to the referee. Not sure exactly what that was all about, but nonetheless, Liberty Christian leading Plano John Paul II by a score of 14-8.
Yeah, this has really been the Hannah Hand quarter in scoring. She has 6 of her team's 9 points. Sister Rebecca, as we said, has just been a monster on the boards. She has 7 for the game. So the bloodlines and the genes, the good genes from that Hand family, we're seeing on display here in the first half, Carlos.
Both teams local to the area. Argyle, Liberty Christian a little bit closer than John Paul of Plano, but nonetheless easy driving distance for both schools, and they have both of them brought their share of fans, although I thought Dallas Christian probably had the biggest.
I agree. To this point, I agree.
And they're way out in Mesquite.
Yep. And in the 5A game, you've got a Plano school coming to play a Fort Worth school. So again, the 5A matchups are all Metroplex based.
Yep. Here's an inside pass and a shot, and a good shot from Claire Ricketts.
Nice call out of the timeout.
So now the Liberty Christian lead is 4 over John Paul. Here's a shot, no good from Sydney Goodson. Plano John Paul with the lead, with the ball. Here comes DeAngelis for the three-pointer from the corner, no good. Under a minute to play now. Liberty Christian with a 14-10 lead over John Paul II. Here's a steal from Kendall Texada, but unfortunately her momentum carrying her out of bounds. And the fans there on the near side giving her an appreciative round of applause for that hustle. And Hannah Hand will throw the ball in for the Lady Warriors.
Let's see if Ken Burrows elects to let these final 45 seconds wind down with a 4-point lead.
Sydney Goodson with the ball. Now gets it out to Ellig as the Liberty Christian working the perimeter once again. Ellig, free throw line, left side. Dishes to Hand. Now to Goodson. Goodson with the shot, free throw line extended, no good. Rebound being tossed around and still up for grabs now. Plano comes down with it.
Nice save.
Kendall Texada with the ball, and her layup attempt no good, but she was fouled.
Yeah, Kendall had the option there of that shot or dishing it out to a wide open DeAngelis on the three-point line. Elected to go inside, use her athleticism, drew the foul.
So that'll be 2 free throws for Kendall Texada. She has yet to shoot a free throw in this game. First free throw up and good, despite the noise from the Liberty Christian fans at the 45-degree angle to her right.
Yeah, they're shoehorned in there.
Texada unaffected on the first shot. Silent this time, and she missed. So 14-11 is the score with 13 seconds to go. Liberty Christian with the ball. There's a steal by Texada. She will take it herself, drive over, and misses the layup, and now we have a foul with 5.4 seconds to go. Nice hustle by Kendall Texada, but she couldn't finish. And the foul is going to be against DeAngelis, Arabella DeAngelis with her first foul.
tough first half overall for Kendall Texada as the playmaker on this team. She's sitting down for these last 5 seconds.
That sends Kendall Ellig to the line to shoot a 1-and-1 for the Lady Warriors. Her first free throw of the game is good.
And you hate, just absolutely hate to give up, stop the clock and let the other team shoot a free throw when there's only 5 seconds and it was a 3-point game.
Yep. Second free throw is also good. It's 16-11 now, Liberty Christian, as Plano inbounds the ball with 3 seconds, crossing the timeline and trying to get the ball off. It's no good, as the 3-point attempt by Keaton Nelligan, I should say, falls way short. So we've played the first period here in the Class 5A TAPPS Girls State Championship, and Argyle Liberty Christian leads the Plano John Paul Lady Cardinals, and actually it's the first half, not the first quarter. This game has gone by so fast, haven't realized that that's 16 minutes in the books.
Right.
So 16-11 is our score. Liberty Christian over John Paul II. I'll get it right here one of these days. But again, not a whole lot of flow, just two teams back and forth. Not really a whole lot of surprises from either team thus far, RV.
No, Plano, John Paul got off to a pretty good start, really. Kendall Texada had a nice quarter, and they jumped out to the early lead. And after they got that lead, Argyle Liberty Christian came back to make it a 6-5 ending to that quarter, and only five more points scored in the second quarter by Plano John Paul, and that just one basket by Claire Ricketts. The other points came off free throws. So John Paul really struggling to get shots off against this Liberty Christian defense. You really haven't seen that many open looks that they've just missed. I want to attribute it to the defense being played by Liberty Christian. Yeah,
and you look at some of the points that John Paul has scored in the tournament, 69 against St. Anthony and 42 against Plano Prestonwood. And so they're held way under their average, at least for the tournament thus far, as Argyle Liberty Christian leads Plano John Paul by a score of 16-11, and point total is pretty indicative of the way the game's going.
Yeah, you see how fast I added them up?
Yeah.
I mean, when it's 16-11, I mean, I can add those up and have time to spare while you're finishing recapping there, Carlos. Let's go with Plano John Paul first on the scoring. And, again, we pointed out Kendall Texada, 6 points, 1 of 2 from the free throw line included in that. 3 points for Claire Ricketts, 1 of 2 from the free throw line, and 2 free throws for Keaton Nelligan. Add those up, you're only looking at 3 made field goals in the first half for John Paul. And
Mike Martin's got to be wailing against his team to try and improve that in the second half. 3
field goals. There's no way. They're fortunate to be behind by 5. I'll say that. And he and the team probably know that, and they know they can do something about it in the second half. That's the silver lining for John Paul right now, is you're only behind by 5, even though you've only made 3 field goals in a half. Moving over to Argyle Liberty Christian. Nice half for Hannah Hand, leads the team with 8 points, 6 of those coming in the second quarter. 5 points from Rayvon Christian, 1 of 3 at the free throw line. 4 points for Kendall Ellig. 2 points for Kendall Ellig, both of those coming on free throws. And 1 point for Rebecca Hand, 1 of 2. But she's been a factor on the glass with 7 rebounds, as we pointed out earlier. 15 rebounds overall for Argyle Liberty Christian, and 10 rebounds for Plano John Paul. Turnovers shaked out about even after Liberty Christian had the 5 in the first half. They only had 1 in the second half. 4 turnovers overall for Plano John Paul. So 6-4 in that particular statistic, with Argyle with 6, John Paul with 4 turnovers. And add it all up, and we've got us a low-scoring affair here after 16 minutes and another 16 to go. And, of course, these two teams have met twice, as we pointed out earlier. One of those anything can happen has looming ahead of us.
Absolutely, and shaping up for a great second half. We hope you'll stay on with us. 16-11 is our current score, as Argyle Liberty Christian leads Plano John Paul II. We'll be back with second half action after this short break. Welcome back to Broncos Gym here at Legacy High School in Mansfield. We have played 16 minutes of the Class 5A Girls TAPPS State Championship game between Argyle Liberty Christian and Plano John Paul II. Two teams very familiar with each other as they both district mates from District 1-5A. And currently Liberty Christian will have the ball and a 16-11 lead. Carlos Leal along with RV Vargas, RV, from Tex Preps Basketball Magazine and TexPrepsBasketball.com. And we immediately have a turnover, and it looks like John Paul's going to have the ball.
Yeah, beginning of the third quarter, similar to the way the start of the game happened for Argyle with an immediate turnover, and I know they don't want to see that repeat itself.
Ken Burrows, the coach for Argyle Liberty Christian. Mike Martin, the coach for Plano John Paul. Lady Cardinals working the ball around the perimeter. Now inside. Claire Ricketts, free throw line extended, gives it back to Nelligan. Now from the free throw line. Wow, some outside shooting from Claire Ricketts, and she closes the lead to 16-13.
Yeah, if you're not going to come out and guard me, I can make that.
I'll be a little more cautious the next time, I'm sure. Sydney Goodson now over to Hand. That's Hannah Hand. And she gets her own rebound, but is blocked. Argyle fans wanted a foul. Meanwhile, back comes Kendall Texada with a nice turnaround. Unable to finish, though. She does get the rebound in the paint. Reverse shot, no good. And now we've got a foul. And I think that's going to be on Plano John Paul. Yes, it is. And that's Claire Ricketts' second foul of the ballgame.
Kendall Texada just having such a difficult time. And you know she's going to keep trying, which all good players do, but really a difficult time right now with the lid sealed on the basket, it seems like, for her.
Well, she's not short on hustle, that's for sure. She's been all around. And a thorn in the side of the Lady Warriors on defense. Here's Hannah Hand once again. Her shot is good. Count the basket.
No, we're going the other way.
Oh, no, we are. I'm sorry.
We had Kendall Texada taking the charge from Hannah Hand.
Sorry, I saw the referee pointing and got confused there momentarily. But so another instance of some nice hustle by Texada, and now a timeout. And I believe this is going to be Ken Burrows calling for the Liberty Christian timeout. No, actually it's going to be John Paul the second. So 6 minutes, 36 seconds left to go in the third period. As John Paul calls the timeout, they trail Argyle Liberty Christian by a score of 16-13.
Yeah, kind of a beginning of this half here, very similar to the beginning of the first quarter when there just weren't a lot of points to be had for either team. Not really that many turnovers, just a few missed baskets, some frustration so far for Kendall Texada, though we know what type of player she is and the star element she brings to her team, so you can't expect this to last the entire game for her. Meanwhile, you've got Hannah Hand and Rebecca Hand, who have been a pair of steady hands. There had to be one at some point.
Yeah, I guess so.
Name like Hand, we couldn't leave that unturned. So very talented players, and we mentioned they had a sister before them who played at the school, Whitney.
A hands-on team for sure. Here's Plano John Paul with the ball.
We've got us a duel breaking out here, I can tell.
Kate Nelligan at the top of the key, driving the left side. Now dishes in the corner. Here's a three-point attempt by DeAngelis that's good. And just like that, it's now 16 apiece for Argyle Liberty Christian and Plano John Paul the second.
Plano John Paul has good outside shooters, three-point shooters, and you have to really see them get uncorked.
Rebecca Hand with the miss. And Kendall Texada with a nifty little move to clear the defense. And now she crosses the timeline. Chance for John Paul to go up here in the second half. As Sweeney, now they work the ball around the perimeter once again. Here's Kendall Texada all the way out to Bridget Williams. Williams, a new face in the ball game. Wasn't part of the starting five, but is starting here in the second half. Maybe we'll change the pace from Mike Martin. Her inside pass to Kelsey Sweeney. Barely able to get it back out. Here's a three-pointer from the near elbow. No good by Nelligan. Rebound by the Lady Warriors. Back comes Liberty Christian. Here's Sydney Goodson. Goodson now inside to Rayvon Christian, who puts it up and in.
Yeah, not the easiest of shot with a bunch of hands battling around her. No pun on that one, but really a bunch of players around her trying to get to the basketball. Good effort by Rayvon Christian to stay with it.
4 minutes and 50 seconds left to go. 18-16 is our score. Liberty Christian over John Paul II. Neither team showing too much of a sign of panic. Here's a three-pointer from Raven Christian on the far elbow.
Kendall Texada.
I'm sorry, Kendall Texada, that's right.
Yeah, and she still is not shy. That was a long one.
And that gives John Paul the lead, 19-18. There's a drive from Rebecca Hand. Her shot is up, no good. Rebound is corralled by Liberty Christian, up and good, and I believe that is Kendall Ellig.
Yes, number 32, Kendall Ellig, going up strong on that one, and back and forth we go.
The foul will be against Bridget Williams. That's her first. So the 2 points gives Liberty Christian the lead, and then Ellig with a chance to make it a 2-point lead, but misses the free throw. And it's corralled by DeAngelis for Plano John Paul.
Not a lot of points going up, but I really love the competitiveness of this game by both teams.
Here's Kendall Texada with a drive into the paint, puts it up and in. And I tell you what, RV, you're right. The points are hard to come by, but they are able to get some traction anyway. Here's a three-pointer from the top of the key. It's good. And Hannah Hand shows her hand. And now a timeout by Liberty Christian as they take the lead on the three-pointer, 23-21, with 3:56 to go in the third period.
Yeah, like we said, Carlos, back and forth we go with these two teams, and the star power players are coming out. Kendall Texada with another quick five, just as she had at the beginning of the game, now up to a team leading 11. And Hannah Hand with that long three-pointer to regain the lead for Argyle Liberty Christian. So it's fun watching these players who have made names for themselves, and we can say that about Hannah Hand and Rebecca Hand, even though they're both only freshmen.
Right.
They've already made names for themselves in their first year at the school, and with 3 more years to go. The thing that we're watching today in the games that we've covered is we're seeing teams that have very, very strong possibilities of returning to this same tournament in the years ahead.
Well, and when you have a pedigree like the Hands do coming into Argyle Liberty Christian with other players, other older siblings who have played before, there's a certain amount of expectation maybe, I think, that comes with any person with the last name of Hand. Whether or not that's justified, we could argue, but obviously the two sisters now living up to that name for sure. This, at least in their freshman season, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's how it goes when you've got a state championship and you have siblings coming up. You can show them the trophy or show them the medal, and it's like, look what I've got. You want one? You know, and a little fuel for motivation there.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nope. Reminds me of a joke I'll try and tell you guys later. Meanwhile, John Paul with the ball. Here's Keaton Nelligan, free throw line. Dishes to Texada. Texada on the right side, puts it up, no good. Rebound, still out. Now John Paul comes up with it as DeAngelis had it, or actually that was Kelsey Sweeney with the ball. Now DeAngelis, free throw line extended, drives into the paint, tries to drive through 2 people and throw it up, and fortunately got it looks like a blocking foul. Yep. And that will go against Kendall Ellig. That's her 3rd foul for the freshman.
Yeah, those are tough calls if you're the defense. You've really done just about everything right. Got a player on their heels, only to have a call go against you.
I can see one of the Hands coming home saying, hey, look, I got an A in English. And the older sister saying, oh, yeah, well, look at this trophy.
Yeah, kind of tough to top the hardware, isn't it?
So John Paul with a chance to cut into this 2-point lead from Argyle Liberty Christian. Kendall Texada drives the free throw line, puts it up, and no good. A little hard off the back iron. And tries to put it up again and will draw the foul again. And go to the free throw line
It's the old bull in the china closet. Yep. When it's Kendall Texada and she decides to lower that head and just burrow in down through the lane. She's obviously as comfortable driving and getting into traffic and being physical as she is shooting those long-distance threes. That's how she's helped make her name.
So Texada with 2 free throws, and the first one rolls off the rim. She's currently 1 for 3, and I did note that that is the 4th personal foul against Kendall Ellig. And fortunately for Liberty Christian, Ken Burrows noticed it as well, as he has made a substitution. And Ellig will sit down presumably for the rest of the 3rd quarter at least. Texada's next free throw is up and good. So she's 2 of 4 from the line. And the lead for Liberty Christian is now 1 point, 23-22 over John Paul II. 2:47 left to go in the third period of this Class 5A state championship ball game. Ball's going to roll out of bounds. The two referees are going to look at each other, and they're going to give the ball back to Liberty Christian.
Yeah, very active defenses for both teams today. That's the one thing about it, and you like to see, you know, your defense never does go away. You're not going to necessarily make every shot or play your best offensive game, but both are really showing good defenses.
Nice play by Rayvon Christian as she called for the ball deep and got the inbound pass, and that's now 25-22 in favor of Liberty Christian. By the way, Allie Gardner, the substitute for Kendall Ellig there for the Lady Warriors. Meanwhile, Plano John Paul II. Here's a drive and a foul as Arabella DeAngelis gets fouled. And Allie Gardner comes in and gets greeted with her first foul. 4 team fouls for Liberty Christian compared to only 2 thus far for Plano John Paul. Inbound pass, a three-pointer from the corner by DeAngelis, no good. Rebound corralled by John Paul. Kelsey Sweeney puts it back up and in.
Nice all the way around with the rebound and the putback for the first 2 points of the game for Kelsey Sweeney.
The Liberty Christian lead is now 1. Here's Gardner with the ball, giving it to Rebecca Hand. Now back to Gardner. 2 minutes left to go in the third period. Liberty Christian of Argyle leads John Paul of Plano 25-24. Hand over to Allie Gardner's three-pointer from the far corner.
Yeah, and
is good.
That one drew rain from way out there. My gosh.
It took forever to come down as well.
Yeah.
28-24.
We're just not feeling those sprinkles, aren't we?
Yeah. Now, meanwhile, here's Kendall Texada with a three-pointer. That would have been a three-pointer in college, the NBA, the WNBA, just about anywhere, and it cuts the lead to 28-27.
That was a touche tray. That's what that was.
And Texada gets called for a foul against Rebecca Hand, and that is Texada's third foul.
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting into a situation, and this happened in the first half when some of these key players had 2 fouls. Some of them are getting 3 and 4 now, and I guarantee you every player who started this game will be needed at the finish of this game.
Absolutely. Sydney Goodson to Rebecca Hand, and Rebecca, the foul.
Was that away from the ball?
I believe so.
It didn't really look like anything happening there on the play. I wasn't able to see what was going on inside, but
that foul was either on Kelsey Sweeney or Arabella DeAngelis. Didn't catch the number. But nonetheless, it's the third team foul for John Paul II. Now here's a shot from Liberty Christian, no good. Rebound being bounced around, controlled by Nelligan for the Lady Cardinals. She's going to drive it across the timeline. Dishes over to Kelsey Sweeney. Now back up top of the key. Now to Nelligan on the elbow. DeAngelis in the corner, driving the baseline, into the paint, turnaround jumper, rolls in. Just barely crept over the rim, nudged the backboard and fell in.
Nice drive, nice spin and pivot, and you're right, got the break on the roll.
And the Lady Cardinals have a 1 point lead now, 29-28, with 35 seconds to go in the third period. Pass knocked away out of bounds. It'll be Liberty Christian basketball. Either on the baseline or in front of their own benches where they'll inbound it. Rebecca Hand will do the honors for the Lady Warriors. Over to Rayvon Christian, drives into the paint. Her short jumper is good. And just like that, Liberty Christian has a 30-29 lead with 26 seconds to go in the third period.
Good decision by Rayvon Christian to stop on a dime on that one there. If she had taken another step, she probably would have drawn a charging foul. Very good discipline and able to just stop her momentum for the pull-up jumper.
Kendall Texada inside the jump circle as the Lady Cardinals will play for the last shot. 6 seconds. 5 seconds. Texada with a desperation three, no good, but the putback is good. And that is Kelsey Sweeney with the shot. And it gives the Lady Cardinals of Plano John Paul a 31-30 lead after 3 periods of play here at Legacy High School in Mansfield, the Class 5A TAPPS Girls Basketball State Championship. Plano John Paul II leading 31-30 over the Argyle Liberty Christian Lady Warriors, and pretty much exactly what we expected, RV. 2 teams very familiar with each other and just slugging it out between the 2 of them.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Plano John Paul, Carlos, they really picked it up in that quarter there. Haley excuse me, Haley. I knew I would do that once. Kendall Texada really got on track and had 9 big points, and 4 chipped in by Sweeney, 5 DeAngelis, and a bucket by Claire Ricketts. And it's a 20-point quarter for John Paul after having only 11 in the entire first half.
Yep, 20-14, they outscore Liberty Christian. So the other 2 games, I believe you said, were between 5 and 6 points between the 2
teams?
teams?
52-47 and 46-42, and we're
the same.
Heading towards that same scoring range right now as it stands.
The big difference, of course, neutral court, and, oh, by the way, a state championship on the line.
Just a little bit more at stake here. Wonderful game, really enjoying this one.
Absolutely. The Lady Cardinals will have the ball to start the final period with the 1-point lead. Spreading out the offense. This is Nelligan with the ball, top of the key. Now gives it to Texada.
Argyle content to sit back in a 2-3 for the time being.
Nelligan again at the top of the key. Now to Texada. They work the ball into the corner, then back out. Texada between the circles.
Do you want to editorialize while this is going on whether you like a shot clock or not, Carlos?
No,
You don't want to put your neck on the line? Tell me if you like one or not. We've voiced this during some of the boys' games we've been covering. I'm not going to tell you.
There was one McKinney-Boyd game that comes to mind that was, I believe, 26-25 in double overtime.
Oh, McKinney North.
Recently. McKinney North, that's it.
Yeah, they won 23-21.
That was it. That was the game I'm thinking of.
I think it was over one of the Frisco Liberty or one of the teams. Maybe even this Mansfield Legacy team. I think it was.
Could be. And that was multiple overtimes. I can't imagine how to call that one. The Cardinals still with the ball, still content to just sit on the perimeter and move the ball around, not in a big hurry to do anything. Nelligan.
I may have to editorialize if this goes on much longer. Aren't we getting paid a lot of money to call action?
Well, with a game like this, that's been back and forth between both teams.
Right.
Here's Texada. Here's a three-pointer from the corner. No good by Ricketts. Rebound controlled by Christian for Liberty Christian. And back the other way come the Lady Warriors. They're in a big hurry. And there's a shot and a two-pointer by Sydney Goodson. And so that will stop the stall ball by the Lady Cardinals as it's now 32-31. Argyle Liberty Christian over John Paul II.
Sydney Goodson's first 2 points of the game coming at a very opportune time for the freshman.
Texada drives, passes over to the corner. Now she has the top of the key. Her three-pointer's up and good.
Oh, man. She does have NBA range. She truly does, and she is not afraid to fire.
And she's definitely got it going on.
Very pumped up right now.
Oh, yeah. 34-32 is the score. John Paul II over Argyle Liberty Christian. 5 minutes, 28 seconds left to go in regulation of the Class 4A TAPPS State Championship ball game. Inside pass to Hanahan, knocked away, controlled by Plano, but unfortunately the only thing that they're able to do is sit on the ball and draw the held ball as Keaton Nelligan on the floor, not able to get the ball out. So on the alternating possession, it'll be Liberty Christian basketball underneath their own basket. Rayvon Christian been working inside. Tosses it over to Sydney Goodson. And a pass for Christian, knocked away a little bit out of her range.
Yeah.
A little bit of an overthrow there, and the Lady Cardinals have an attempt to widen their 2-point lead.
Should they so choose? No, I didn't say that.
Well, as soon as you say that, here's Kendall Texada, who is content to just stand to the left of the jump circle.
Well, here's the thing with Kendall Texada. You come out too close to guard her on these long threes.
She whips by you.
You know it.
Yep.
So it's a pick your poison if you're Argyle Liberty on defense right now. You really want to try and man up on her, you run that risk. You want to lay back, they'll kill clock.
Hanahan draws the defensive assignment. And once again, after a couple of passes, the ball back into Kendall Texada's hands. Way over by the timeline. 4:19 to go and counting. John Paul II leading Liberty Christian by a score of 34-32 with the state championship on the line here in TAPPS 5A. Here's a shot into the corner, or a pass into the corner. Baseline drive now, free throw shot line good by Kelsey Sweeney. And the lead now is 4. Liberty Christian trailing. And there's a blocking foul on Kendall Texada. And that's number 4 on Texada, I believe. So that is the 5th team foul on John Paul compared to 4 for Liberty Christian. And they have the ball. Rebecca Hand. Here's a 3-point attempt, no good from the far corner by Goodson. Free throw or putback though from Rebecca Hand is good. And so that will trim the lead to 2 points. And a timeout being called with 3 minutes and 44 seconds left in regulation in this Class 5A state championship game. The Plano John Paul II Cardinals, Lady Cardinals, lead the Argyle Liberty Christian Lady Warriors by a score of 36-34.
And that was Rebecca Hand's 9th rebound of the game, and none bigger than that one, and able to follow up with a putback there to cut the lead in half, 4 points to 2, and keep Argyle Liberty Christian within 1 possession. And Plano John Paul has the ball, of course, and considering they started out the quarter in a semi-stall, I wouldn't be surprised now that there's only 3:44 on the clock that they're going to force. No, I can't say it. Well, they're going to force Argyle Liberty Christian's
hand. No pun intended. Well, there is a bit of a danger when you've had a back-and-forth game like this. There's a little bit of a chance to be taken by Mike Martin to slow things down because he might, lull his own team into a, I don't know what you call a false sense of security or just a change of pace that might not be to their liking. And they might actually be playing into the hands of Liberty Christian.
Yeah, and I said Ken Burrows. I meant Mike Martin.
Yeah.
He of course, is the coach setting up the play right now for John Paul.
So John Paul with the ball and the 2-point lead, 3:35 and counting here. And we've got a whistle away from the ball.
A timeout.
A 20-second timeout, this one being called by Ken Burrows. So obviously just wanted to see what the...
Yeah, it has to be. Is Mike Martin calling that one again since they had the ball, yeah.
Well, that's true. Sorry about that.
Interesting, though, wasn't it, that he called it so fast?
Yeah, I don't know if he was just looking to see what kind of defense maybe that the Lady Warriors would put up against him or not.
Good point.
They didn't appear to be in any hurry to run a play, so maybe they were just trying to see whether or not they were going to draw man-to-man or zone coverage.
Yeah, both teams down to 2 timeouts apiece, and that could factor in a one-possession game like this. You'll often hear the saying, "Don't leave any in your pocket.
Yeah.
Use them." But the flip side is you don't want to use them all too early, or just only have one with ample time still on the clock. So they need to really manage. Both teams need to manage these final 2 timeouts in this last 3.5 minutes.
At this point in the Class 4A boys game, Dallas Christian was gaining on Westbury, but things got out of hand. If they had used their timeouts early, they wouldn't have been able to try and use them late. So, yeah, your point is well taken in that regard. Nonetheless, the Lady Cardinals with the ball. Kendall Texada in the backcourt, now crosses into the front court.
That's who you want to have with the ball in this situation.
Guarded by Hannah Hand. She goes around Hannah Hand, or pass at the free throw line, knocked away momentarily, but back in the hands eventually of Texada. Her 3-pointer, top of the key, up and no good. Rebound corralled by Rebecca Hand.
Her 10th of the game, excuse me.
And she dishes to Sydney Goodson. Goodson shot up, no good. And Plano comes down with it, the Lady Cardinals, with just under 3 minutes to go now in regulation. And Plano John Paul II leading Argyle Liberty Christian 36-34. A 3-pointer from the side is no good. Rebound corralled by the Lady Cardinals. And DeAngelis with a shot and in, about a 7-footer for her. And that extends the Lady Cardinals lead over Liberty Christian to 38-34.
And a nice second half for Arabella DeAngelis with all 6 of her points coming in this half.
Pretty name, too. Here's a 3-pointer from Hand. No good. Rebecca missing. Rebound going all the way out to center court. Hannah Hand corralling it. Now gives it to Sydney Goodson. Goodson at the top of the key. Now to Hannah Hand. Free throw line and tried to shoot the ball, but a blocking foul against Keaton Nelligan. And referee indicating 2 shots. So Nelligan gets called for her first foul of the game. And Hannah Hand with her first free throws of the game. First one is up and good. Substitution for Liberty Christian is in the game comes Maggie Quam.
I believe this is her first appearance in the game.
She comes in for, RV for Kendall Ellig, who came back into the game in the fourth period with 4 fouls. Fortunately, still has them as she leaves.
Difficult miss right there by Hannah Hand. Still a one-possession game, but you know she would have liked to have made it 38-36.
3-point lead for the Lady Cardinals. Here's a three-pointer from the corner, and it's good by Arabella DeAngelis. And now it's a 6-point lead for the Lady Cardinals. Here's a three-pointer from the top of the key. It's short. Plano, John Paul II with the rebound in the hands of Kendall Texada. 1:44 to go. Plano, John Paul II leads Argyle Liberty Christian 41-35.
DeAngelis, nice name, nice game.
Oh, there's a steal from Hannah Hand. Argyle Liberty Christian the other way. Hand going to take it herself. And
fall.
Kendall Texada called for the foul. And if my numbers are correct, that may be it. But let's see.
Let's see if we get the horn. I think the announcer, Mr. John Pritchett, announced 4th personal.
So 4 fouls for Kendall Texada. And Hannah Hand at the free throw line. Her first one is good. Hannah 2 for 3 thus far in the game. About to attempt her 4th. And it's a 5-point lead for for Plano. John Paul misses the second one. Texada gets the outlet pass after the rebound by the Lady Cardinals. 1:21 to go. A 5-point Plano John Paul II lead, and tossed away by Keaton Nelligan. She was trying to get Kelsey Sweeney down low, but the errant pass gives Liberty Christian a chance to cut in to this 5-point deficit.
Yeah, this could be the last gasp for Argyle Liberty. Oh no, and we got a carry. A carrying call
against Rebecca Hand.
Oh my, what a tough call at this stage of the game.
Some might say that's a freshman mistake, but it was definitely inopportune. Now some pressure on the inbounds, but Kendall Texada handles it nicely.
Not saying it's a wrong call, but it's a rare call.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not in any position to disagree with what the refs are calling at this point. Texada with the ball, now tipped away by Hannah Hand, by Rebecca Hand. But a foul called on Rebecca Hand, and that is her 3rd. The 5th team foul. So Liberty Christian still has 2 to give, and a timeout again, this one being called by Argyle Liberty Christian. So with 58.6 seconds left in regulation, the Plano John Paul II Lady Cardinals lead the Argyle Liberty Christian Lady Warriors by a score of 41-36. Plano John Paul II has 2 timeouts left. Liberty Christian has 1. There are 17 fouls against Plano John Paul, so it's a 1-and-1 situation for Liberty Christian. There are only 5 fouls team-wise for Argyle, so they still have 2 fouls to give. That could work to their detriment, LV. I would think that they would maybe try and foul a little bit early here.
Yeah, like as soon as the ball is inbounded,
yes.
Just don't foul away from it where you put a player in position to shoot a free throw with an away from the ball foul. But you're exactly right. It could work from their detriment. The good news is they have 5. They only need 1 quick foul. Sometimes you'll see teams with only 3 or 4.5, and they've got to go to 3 or 4 immediate fouls.
Yeah.
So it's not quite so dire in that respect, but they will need to commit a fast one. We'll just say another note about these 2 teams as I'm looking at the rosters. You've got 2 seniors on this Plano John Paul team. You've got 4 seniors on this Argyle Liberty team that starts 4 freshmen. These could be the same 2 teams back here next year in the 4A title game.
Very well could be the case.
Really enjoy watching these youngsters.
The year of the underclassmen for sure here in TAPPS, about the 5A and 4A level. Here's a pass to Texada underneath, and it goes in! She is fouled! And so exactly what Liberty Christian did not want to have happen is Hannah Hand had to foul Kendall Texada. That's her 2nd foul. But to add insult to injury, the shot went in, so it's a 7-point lead. The Kendall Texada can make it 8 points.
That was your basic jailbreak play there with Texada, just simply rolling to the basket without the defense anticipating that someone would be doing that.
Her free throw is good. And so Kendall Texada is now 3 of 5 from the line. And another timeout, and this one by John Paul II, I believe. Or maybe not. No. No, they didn't call it.
Yeah. 15 big points in this half, Carlos, for Kendall Texada.
Wow. Definitely the MVP of the ball game.
Absolutely.
At this
just
point.
A rugged first half, but stars shine, and she has.
Liberty Christian down by 8, 44-36, 45 seconds left. Desperate to try and get some points on the board. Here's Rayvon Christian underneath, driving into the paint. Now dishing back out to Goodson. Goodson's three-pointer from the far elbow is good. So that momentarily cuts into the lead. 44-39 is the score. John Paul II over Liberty Christian, but there's 35.2 seconds left to go, and that is the final timeout for Liberty Christian. They're all at timeout, and they still have to give a foul before Plano John Paul goes to the line.
Yeah, you're right on both counts on that one there. There still is time, and turnovers do happen. They have in this game, and if they that's ideally what Liberty Christian would want to have happen right now in a best-case scenario. Minimal time off the clock, a turnover, and a made basket. Whether it's a 2 or a 3 really doesn't matter with a 5-point deficit. But you're right on the other points you just made, Carlos. No timeout, so they have no way of stopping the clock. And they do need to, if they don't get the quick turnover at this point with 35, they really do need to just commit the fast foul regardless of who they're fouling. Time is not on their side at this juncture.
So whatever Ken Burrows told them during that timeout, it's going to have to last them for at least the next 35.2 seconds.
He probably told them get it in Kendall's hands.
John Paul II inbounding the ball underneath the Liberty Christian basket into the hands of Kendall Texada, being chased by both hand sisters, and she throws it away.
Okay, well, I was going to say they need to foul her. They need to foul her. Time went off the clock, 8 seconds, but the next best case scenario happened, the turnover. 26
seconds and counting, but there's still a 5-point deficit for Liberty Christian. This is Rebecca Hand.
Remember,
on the
it can be
side.
A 2 or 3.
Yep.
Needs to happen now, though.
Rebecca over to Goodson. Goodson's three-pointer from the near elbow, no good. Lady Cardinals corral the rebound. That is Claire Ricketts, and she's immediately fouled. And so 1-1 now for Ricketts, as she is 1 for 2 from the line thus far in the game.
Yeah, if Goodson had hit that three-pointer, there still would have been just a sliver of opportunity for Liberty Christian, but now it is near miracle time.
5-point lead for Plano John Paul. Ricketts' first free throw is good, and another nail goes in the coffin. And now Mike Martin calls timeout. He wants to set up his team to know exactly what they're doing, obviously, in the last 8.9 seconds.
Well, yeah, at this point he's probably calling the timeout just to caution against an over-the-top pass. Almost as in football, when you have a lead towards the end of a game, you can probably expect to see a safety or two, so to speak, playing back defensively for John Paul and not permitting any over-the-top passes. Keep everything in front of you. They have no timeouts. They've got to run with the ball, and they've only got 8 seconds to do it. So everything stacks up in favor of Plano John Paul right now. And again, another close game between these two.
Yep. In 2011, these two teams faced each other for the state championship. Argyle Liberty Christian came out on top. Other than that, there were 2 years, 2008 and 2012, where Plano John Paul II made appearances in the Final Four, losing in the semifinals both times. So in their 7-year history, they are on the verge of their first state championship. Claire Ricketts with the second free throw. It's up and good. 47-39. 7 seconds, 6 seconds. Liberty Christian trying to get a shot off. 2, 1. They're not going to get the shot off, and that is it. The Plano John Paul II Lady Cardinals with their first state championship in their basketball program's history as they defeat the Argyle Liberty Christian Warriors by a score of 46-39.
Gosh, what a fun game to watch. We really enjoyed that one. The Stars came out, did what they had to. Kendall Texada was just awesome in the second half. And, you know, in retrospect, you come out of this District 1 5A TAPPS, as we said earlier, John Paul had to beat a fellow member, Prestonwood Christian, to get here. You've got Dallas Bishop Lynch with Andy Zillman that has been winning state championships forever.
Left and right, yep.
And it's the equivalent to the 07 5A and boys and girls UIL with the Duncanville, DeSoto, Mansfield Timberview, Cedar Hill, the likes of those. That's the equivalent of what we see in 1 5A. And congratulations to both teams and to John Paul for winning it all.
It doesn't really matter almost the way. It's kind of like another parallel I would draw is with the ACC back in the 70s. It really didn't matter where you finished because the teams you knew everybody was going to go into the tournament, and you'd more than likely be facing your fellow district mates. And in the case of John Paul II, they faced Plano Prestonwood Christian for the third time in the semifinal game, and had a 11-0 run against Plano Prestonwood. They've won all 11 meetings against the Lady Lions, and so once again a third opportunity to play Liberty Christian after beating them twice in the regular season. And once again the Lady Cardinals come out on top by a score of 46-39, and the seventh title game in 8 years for Liberty Christian. They won championships in 2011, as we noted earlier, 2008, 2007. At the 5A level, they were finalists in 2009 and 2010 against Houston Westbury Christian, losing in the state championship game. And in 2006, they also lost the 5A state championship to Fort Worth Christian, and of course coming up short this time at the hands of the Lady Cardinals. The scoring total is pretty indicative of the way the game went.
Absolutely. Let's start out with scoring totals for the victorious Plano John Paul Lady Cardinals. Kendall Texada had 21 points, the senior, to lead the way. As we said, 15 of those came in the second half after a difficult shooting first half. She had some help from Arabella De Angelis with 10 points, the other Lady Cardinal double figures. 7 points for Claire Ricketts, 6 for Kelsey Sweeney, and 2 free throws for Keaton Nelligan. Moving over to Argyle Liberty Christian and that freshman-laden team, and they're disappointed right now, but they're hearing the applause right now from the crowd as they're accepting their runner-up medals. And as we said, a team with an incredible future with all these freshmen. They were led by one of them, Hannah Hand, with 13 points. 11 points from the senior starter, Rayvon Christian. 5 points from Sydney Goodson. 4 from Kendall Ellick, and 3 apiece from Allie Gardner and Rebecca Hand. That rounds out your scoring for both teams. Rebounding ended up fairly even, 24-20 advantage for Plano John Paul, with Kelsey Sweeney having 8 to lead the way. Rebecca Hand had 10 rebounds for her team. Turnovers evened up at the end, 8 for Argyle Liberty Christian and 7 for Plano John Paul. Kind of rounds out our scoring and some stat summaries there, Carlos.
The all-tournament team being announced right now, and split right down the middle, as you might expect, between these two teams. Rebecca Hand and Hannah Hand, and also Rayvon Christian getting all tournament team nods for Liberty Christian. And as far as John Paul II, the usual suspects, as you would say, Kelsey Sweeney, Claire Ricketts, and the MVP in my book of this championship game, Kendall Texada, with just an extraordinary performance. And of course, they're getting their medals and getting the photos taken.
Don't you love that?
Yes.
The scene up there at center court, 3 from each team, and they're posing arms around each other. And the games we've witnessed today, we're really enjoying the sportsmanship that's being displayed by all the teams, and just a tremendous environment here at Mansfield Legacy High School.
In case you missed it, the 4A girls state championship game played earlier today. Lubbock Trinity Christian defeated Sugar Land Fort Bend Christian by a score of 75-34. And also in 4A boys action, it was Houston Westbury Christian defeating Dallas Christian by a score of 58-48. Our final here in the Class 5A girls state championship, the Plano John Paul II Lady Cardinals, with their first state championship in school history, defeating Argyle Liberty Christian and avenging their loss in 2011 by a score of 46-39. And we will be following up with the Class 5A boys state title game here shortly. But for now, this is Carlos Leal along with RV Boggs saying good afternoon from Mansfield, and we'll see you after this short break.
Senior guard, number 11, Allie Gardner. Freshman guard, number 12, Rebecca Hand. Junior guard number 21, Alexis Abbott. Freshman guard number 22, Hannah Hand. Senior guard number 24, Raymond Christian. Senior guard number 25, Maggie Wong. Freshman guard number 32, Kendall Elliott. Freshman guard number 33, Emily Early. And assistant coaches, Noel Christensen, Ashley Jordan, Amy Kohler, and Kelly Bailey. And manager, Katie King. The 2013 Runner King Conference 5A Girls, the Lady Warriors of Liberty Christian of Argyle. Now presenting the 2013 Conference 5A Girls State Champions, this is their third state tournament appearance, their first ever state championship. Head coach Mike Martin, his first year's head coach, leads the Lake Cardinals to the state championship. He and athletic director Jackie will present the team members with their championship medal. We begin with junior guard number 5, Keith Johnson. Senior guard number 11, Kendall Jackson. Offboard guard number 13, Casey Jones. Offboard guard number 15, Bridget Williams. Senior forward number 21, Kelsey Sweeney. Junior guard number 23, Arabella DeAngelo. Junior post number 30, Claire Rickett. Sophomore post number 33, Amanda Graves. And sophomore post number 35, Courtney Schumacher. Assistant coaches, Jerry Tiller, Andrew Scott, and Steve Baxter.